Hello and welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We have a massive story to unpack regarding one of the brightest young stars in the world of tennis, the pride of the Philippines, Alexandra Eala. If you have been keeping an eye on the sports headlines over the last 24 hours, you might have seen some news that, on the surface, looks a bit disappointing. You might have seen the score lines, you might have read the articles, and you might have felt a sudden drop in your stomach seeing that Alex Eala suffered an early first-round exit at the WTA 500 Strasbourg Open in France. It was a grueling, nearly 3-hour marathon against a Ukrainian qualifier, Alexandra Eala, and unfortunately, our Filipina ace ended up on a losing side of a 3-set battle. Now, normally, an early exit in a prestigious tournament, right before a Grand Slam, would be cause for concern. The alarm bells would be ringing. Fans would be taking to social media, panicking about her form, questioning her preparation, and wondering if she has what it takes to make a deep run when the stakes are at their absolute highest. But today, I am here to tell you to take a deep breath, step back, and look at the bigger picture. Because in the unforgiving, grueling landscape of professional tennis, sometimes a loss is exactly what a player needs. I am going to make a bold statement right here at the top of the show. Alex Eala's early exit in Strasbourg is actually fantastic news. It is a blessing in disguise, a strategic recalibration, and perhaps the single best thing that could have happened to her as she gears up for the pinnacle of the clay court season, the 2026 French Open at Roland Garros. We're going to dive deep into exactly why this is the case. We are going to analyze the brutal reality of tournament scheduling, the severe physical and mental toll of the European clay court swing, and the very real, career-threatening specter of pre-slam burnout. When you are a rising 20-year-old star who has just recently broken back into the top 40 of the Women's Tennis Association World Rankings, the pressure to play every single match and win every single point is astronomical. But tennis is a marathon, not a sprint. The red clay of Paris does not care about what you did in a warm-up tournament in Eastern France a few days prior. It only cares about who is the freshest, the strongest, and the most tactically prepared when the first ball is tossed at Roland Garros. Today, we are going to unpack the details of that exhausting match against Oleinikova, the emotional weight her opponent carried, and why fighting for almost 3 hours was a valiant effort. But ultimately, stepping off that court was the best move for Eala's body. We will retrace her steps through the clay season so far, looking at her phenomenal breakthrough run at the Italian Open in Rome, where she proved she can stand toe-to-toe with the absolute elite of the sport. We will also explore the incredibly exciting news regarding her upcoming French Open doubles campaign alongside Canadian teen sensation Victoria Mboko, and what this dynamic partnership means for her overall development. So, get comfortable, grab a drink, and let us embark on a comprehensive breakdown of why Alex Eala's so-called setback in Strasbourg is actually the ultimate setup for a spectacular showing in Paris. Let us transition right into the core of our deep dive analysis today. To truly understand why this early exit is beneficial, we first have to respect the match that actually took place. Alex Eala did not just walk onto the court in Strasbourg and hand over a victory. She entered the main draw as a late replacement, stepping up after the American player Haley Baptiste was forced to pull out. Eala, initially slated for qualifiers as a number 1 seed, suddenly found herself thrust into the main draw against a very dangerous, highly motivated opponent in Alexandra Eala. The Ukrainian, ranked 66 in the world, came into this match with a deeply personal and emotional driving force. Her father, who had been serving in the Ukrainian army, was on leave and in the stands watching her play live for the first time in 2 whole years. You cannot understate the psychological and emotional superpower that kind of motivation provides a player. Oleinikova was playing for something far bigger than ranking points or prize money. She was playing for her family and her country in front of her father's own eyes. Despite facing a player riding an incredible emotional wave, Eala showcased her trademark fighting spirit right out of the gate. She took the first set 6-3, dictating the pace, coming to net, and utilizing her aggressive baseline game to cut off Olenikova's looping defensive shots. The Filipina sensation was navigating incredibly tight situations, including surviving 14 deuces across the final 3 games of that first set alone. But the match quickly turned into a grueling, stylistic contrast. Oleinikova began to disrupt Eala's flat hitting with a mesmerizing variety of shots, changing spins, altering heights, and dragging Eala into deep, physically punishing rallies. The second set saw Eala fall behind a daunting 0-4. And here is where you see the heart of the champion. Eala fought off 5 break points that would have put her down 0-5, and incredibly, she managed to claw her way all the way back to level the set at 5 games apiece. She saved an astonishing 15 of the 23 break points she faced throughout this match. Let that sink in. 15 break points saved. That is a hallmark of a player who refuses to quit, a player who treats every single point as if it were championship point. But eventually, the sheer resilience of Olenikova, combined with her tactical use of the forehand slice to drag Eala awkwardly forward, allowed the Ukrainian to snatch the second set 7-5. The deciding third set was an absolute dogfight. It was a test of lungs, legs, and sheer willpower. Down 2-1, Eala survived an 8-deuce service game, staving off another 5 break points, and then immediately broke her opponent to take a 3-2 lead. But the physical toll of nearly 3 hours on the heavy, unforgiving red clay finally caught up. Olenikova found another gear, adding outright aggression to her ground strokes, and reeled off the final 4 games to win the match 3-6, 7-5, 6-3. It was a spectacular match, highly entertaining for crowds in Strasbourg, but it was exactly the kind of match that absolutely destroys your legs. And this brings us to the most critical point of our analysis today, the danger of the pre-slam tournament. In the world of professional tennis, the week before a Grand Slam is notoriously tricky. The calendar is relentless. You are transitioning from tournament to tournament, city to city, hotel to hotel. You're dealing with different altitudes, different clay compositions, different weather conditions. The WTA 500 event in Strasbourg is designed as a tune-up. It is meant to get some match play under your belt, get the feel of the European clay, and sharpen your tools. It is not designed to be a tournament where you exhaust every single ounce of your physical and mental energy. History is littered with cautionary tales of top-tier players who went all out to win a smaller tournament the week before a major, hoisted the trophy on a Saturday, traveled to Paris on a Sunday, and then completely flamed out in the first round of the French Open on a Monday or Tuesday because they had absolutely nothing left in the tank. Their legs were gone. Their nervous systems were fried. They had peaked a week too early. Alexandra Eala is currently 20 years old. She is young, she is incredibly fit, and she is hungry, but she is also human. Let us look at her clay court season so far leading up to this point. She had early exits in Linz, Stuttgart, and Madrid, but then she found her rhythm at the prestigious Italian Open in Rome. In Rome, she achieved her highest finish in any clay tournament of her professional career so far, reaching the 3rd round and battling the world number 2, Elena Rybakina. That run in Rome was spectacular. It proved she belonged, but it also required a massive output of physical and emotional energy. Following up a deep, high-intensity run in a WTA 1000 event like Rome with a deep run in a grinding WTA 500 event like Strasbourg would place Eala in the absolute red zone for physical exhaustion. Red clay is the most demanding surface in tennis. The points are longer. The ball bounces higher and slower. You cannot rely on cheap points from huge serves as easily as you can on grass or hard courts. Every single point has to be constructed. Every single rally requires sliding, sudden changes of direction, and explosive core rotation to generate heavy topspin. Playing a nearly 3-hour match where you are constantly fighting off break points is the equivalent of running a half marathon with a racket in your hand. By exiting in the first round of Strasbourg, Alexandra Eala has inadvertently gifted herself the most precious commodity a tennis player can have right before Grand Slam: time. She now has a full week of individual, highly controlled preparation. Instead of grinding to the draw in France, putting miles on her legs and stress on her joints, she can step back. She can retreat, possibly to her familiar home base at the Rafael Nadal Academy in Mallorca, Spain. There, she can engage in focused, purposeful practice sessions. She can work on specific tactical adjustments. She can get premium physiotherapy, proper massages, ice baths, and most importantly, uninterrupted sleep. She can recover from the minor wear and tear that inevitably builds up over a month of playing on the dirt. She can step onto practice courts at Roland Garros not as a fatigued, battle-weary athlete trying to tape herself together, but as a fresh, explosive, fully recharged competitor ready to unleash her best tennis. Furthermore, let's consider the mental aspect of this rest period. The media spotlight on Alex Eala is intense, particularly back home in the Philippines, where fans affectionately hope to see her become a true queen of clay, heavily inspired by her time spent learning under the system of Rafael Nadal himself. After a stunning breakthrough in Rome, the expectations skyrocketed. Re-entering the top 40 of the world rankings brings a new level of scrutiny. Opponents now scout her differently. They play her with nothing to lose. The mental fatigue of carrying the hopes of a nation, combined with the solitary nature of tennis, is a heavy burden. This early exit acts as a pressure release valve. It allows her to reset her mindset, to get away from the immediate glare of center court, and to quiet the noise. She can sit down with her coaching staff, review the tape of the Olenikova match, analyze the tactical breakdowns, like being dragged forward by the slice, and implement corrections in a low-stress environment. You cannot make significant technical or tactical improvements when you are playing a match every single day. You can only survive. This week off allows Eala to transition from survival mode back into development and preparation mode. Looking ahead to Roland Garros, the stakes are incredibly high. Eala will be looking to significantly improve upon her performance last year, where she suffered a difficult first-round exit against Emiliana Arango. This year, she arrives as a different player. She is stronger, more experienced, and has proven she can beat top-tier talent on clay. But the singles draw is not the only place where she will be making waves. There's fantastic news on the doubles front that adds another layer of excitement to her French Open campaign. Alex Eala is teaming up with the 19-year-old Canadian rising star, Victoria Mboko. This is a partnership that has tennis purists absolutely buzzing. You have two of the most promising young talents on the WTA Tour joining forces. Eala, the former U.S. Open girls singles champion, actually beat Mboko back in the semifinals of that very junior tournament in 2022. They have a shared history, a mutual respect, and an incredible amount of raw firepower. Mboko has been on a meteoric rise, reaching a career-high singles ranking of number 9, while Eala sits around number 42. However, Eala brings a slightly higher doubles ranking and a wealth of tactical court sense. They will be looking to better Eala's second-round doubles finish from last year when she partnered with Mexico's Renata Zarazua. Playing doubles at a Grand Slam is not just a side quest. It is a phenomenal way to improve your net game, sharpen your reflexes, and get comfortable with the specific court conditions of the tournament venue without the crushing pressure of a singles match. Partnering with someone as dynamic as Mboko will keep Eala sharp, aggressive, and engaged, perfectly complementing her singles campaign. Olympics.com. So, when we synthesize all of these factors, the grueling nature of her nearly 3-hour battle, the emotional high of her opponent, the physical toll of her recent breakthrough in Rome, the unforgiving nature of the clay court calendar, the vital necessity of rest, and the exciting dual campaign she has lined up in Paris, it becomes abundantly clear. The loss in Strasbourg is not a tragedy. It is a tactical retreat. It is the universe stepping in and enforcing load management. It is ensuring that when the bright lights of Roland Garros switch on, Alex Eala is not running on fumes, but is instead fueled, focused, and ready to play the best tennis of her young life. As we draw this deep dive to a close, it is crucial to reframe how we consume sports and how we evaluate the day-to-day results of our favorite athletes. We live in a world of instant reactions, where a single loss is often immediately catastrophized into a crisis of confidence or a dip in form. But professional tennis, perhaps more than any other sport, requires a macroscopic view. The season spans 11 months of the year, traversing the globe, shifting across hard courts, clay, and grass. It is a grueling, punishing existence that demands not just physical perfection, but elite calendar management. Alex Eala is no longer just a promising junior player trying to make a name for herself. She is a top 40 WTA professional. She is a known commodity, a seeded threat in qualifying draws, and a dangerous floater in main draws. With that elevated status comes the responsibility of knowing when to push your body to the absolute limit and when to accept the result. Pack your bags and prepare for the bigger war ahead. Her performance in Strasbourg, fighting tooth and nail for 2 hours and 52 minutes, saving 15 break points against a highly inspired Alexandra Eala, proved that her competitive fire is burning as bright as ever. She did not tank the match. She did not give up. She left everything she had on that dirt in eastern France. But the simple biological reality is that you cannot leave everything you have on the court in Strasbourg and expect to have anything left for the grueling 2-week gauntlet of the French Open. Business world. By exiting when she did, Eala has successfully navigated the most dangerous trap of the pre-slam calendar, the burnout trap. She now owns her schedule for the next week. She dictates her sleep, her diet, her practice intensity, and her mental recovery, while other players are still grinding away in tune-up tournaments, risking twisted ankles, shoulder strains, and supreme exhaustion. Eala will be carefully sharpening her weapons in the shadows. When she finally steps onto the iconic courts of Roland Garros, she will be bringing fresh legs, a clear mind, and the confidence of a player who knows she is properly prepared for the biggest stage on clay. Combine that with her highly anticipated doubles pairing alongside Victoria Mboko, and we are looking at a remarkably exciting 2 weeks ahead for Philippine tennis. The narrative heading into Paris is no longer about an early exit in a warm-up event. The narrative is about a young, fierce competitor who has paced herself perfectly for the main event. She has taken her lumps, she has learned her lessons, and she has secured the rest she so desperately needed. The stage is set, the red clay awaits, and Alexandra Eala is ready to make her mark. Thank you so much for joining me for this extensive breakdown today. If you enjoyed this deep dive analysis, please make sure to hit that like button, as it really helps out the channel. Leave a comment down below with your thoughts. How far do you think Alex Eala can go in both the singles and doubles draws at Roland Garros this year? I love reading your predictions. And of course, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and turn on those notifications so you never miss our comprehensive coverage of the WTA Tour and the upcoming French Open. Until next time, take care, enjoy the tennis, and we will see you in the next one.